Alright, let's draw. Oh, wait a minute. That's not right. Let's file. There we go. Okay, so actually I didn't want that there. So what I want to do is go to edit mode and go Z and box around this whole thing. And we need to scale it, I think, down here. Go to 1. Then that's saying now I want scaled up a hair, or I really don't want to distort the center. I want the center to be round as I so let's go A to deselect. Let's go box. And let's actually, let's deselect this box. Let's go with these last two. And let's scale. And grab. Let's go back a little bit. Grab Z, let's bring it down to here. Box the last row here. Let's grab X. Grab Z. Box. Let's go just under the center here. Deselect, let's box, let's go right here. Grab Z, let's bring that down a little bit. And let's come in. Let's grab, let's box around. Let's box on the center one, let's grab it and go straight up with it. And let's box, let's grab the second one, let's grab it, go Z and go up with it until those lines are... Okay, let's see what we got here. Didn't distort it too much. We kept our center line. But it matches more now. What I'm not sure about is I actually think this thing down here, this cowling down here on the bottom where it stretches around, a little more fatter. because the whole thing looks like it stretches. So let's go box. Let's go about here. And what we want to do is we want to go Z. And we want to box this again so we catch the vertices in the back here. Okay, and then once we Z again. And then let's go box. And I actually want to catch these. And these. And these. Okay. We'll go Z. And the same thing, we want to go box there. And believe it or not, we want to actually box here. But we don't want to catch the ones on this upper bubble here. We want to catch these, but we don't want to catch that's going to be a little bit of trick, so we need to come, we want to angle this over like this, and then same thing, we can box around here. And we have a vertex there. Actually, I think we're catching that one anyway, so that's not a problem. But we don't want that one. Okay, so we have that whole bump selected. And now we can come here. Except for I don't want that vertex. Actually, I think I could just more or less grab these few top ones here. Oopsie, and we want to Control Z because I don't know if we want that one. But we do want these two. The trick here is we want to grab the vertices in the bump, but we don't want to grab the Control Z. There we go. We want to grab the ones in this bump, but we don't want to grab the ones on the line, which might be a little bit tricky. We'll shift down. So, for instance, we want this one right here. We don't want the one underneath it. But if we're supposed to grab that one, we will catch that one from the side. So if I go back to 1, box. You can still see some in here from the bottom that we want. And actually, I don't think it would really hurt to grab these bottom ones. And we're going to grab these. And we'll grab... Go ahead and grab those because those are grabbed on that. So... we'll try that. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to grab the Z, and we're going to pull that down just a hair. Oh, like that. That off. I'm going to come back up. We're going to box about there. And we're going to grab it, the Z. Now we're going to let off. We're going to grab this here. Grab it, go down. And let's see what that looks like. So we flatten that bottom out a little bit. We don't have too much 3D distortion, but we have a little bit. Okay, so now we can box. It's about the halfway point. Grab it, Z. Or actually, let's scale it a little bit. Oops, we don't want to do that. We'll scale it. Or we could scale it to the Z a little bit, so that we're not putting the back too far back. Okay, now let's grab it. Z. There we go. Bring that there. Let's look at that, and whoopsie. I didn't grab the back. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay. Get back to 1. We want to 0, and then we want to box this again right here, so that we have both sides. Now we can Z again, and we can scale it on the Z again. Grab it on the Z, bring it down. Okay, let's take a look at that. And as you notice, it actually kind of skinnied it up from the bottom there, so we're going to scale it to the Y and look at it from an angle. And that's being a little hairy. That looks pretty close. Back to 1. Okay. Okay, let's go Z. Let's make a box right here. Let's grab it and go Z with it. And I'm looking at the bottom line on the second one. Let's select A. Let's make a box. Let's grab this outer line halfway. Let's grab it. Z. Alright, about there. And that shaped the bottom out a little bit. Now it kind of made your lines up in here a little bit funky. So one thing we want to do is we want to go, see, I want to put a box around this. This isn't actually the center line, but it's like below the center line, but we're going to grab that, go Z, bring it up a little bit. And our center line's actually a little bit too high up here. Actually, that's not our center line either. That's below our center line, so we're going to grab that, Z. We're going to bring it down just a hair. Actually, that's pretty straight, eh? Yeah, actually that is our center line to the propeller. So again, what we could do is box this and grab it there. And we'll put a box right here, grab this as our line. This one will be a little bit tricky because they're so close. Box it, grab that dot there. Okay, box it, grab that there. Now you can tell because the whole line is yellow. And then we can go, we could actually just go probably raise that last one, or we can go scale, Z, 0, and then straighten it right out. Just deselect. Now let's save it at this point. And we're going to take this 4 now, since we've done so much stuff. We're going to make this 4 or 5. And let's look at this. And let's go to object mode and look at it. So it doesn't look like we have many major distortions, but we got the back twisted up a little bit, more ovaled, but we kept the front perfectly circle. We lowered the little rocker arms a little bit angled on the bottom of it, but that would work that way in real, if it was really bending sheet metal like that. And some of these didn't have a perfect round cowling, but most of them were pretty close. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to look at this from the top. Go back to edit mode. Z. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take our center line on the back here. We're going to grab it on the X, and we're going to bring it in right to that edge. Okay. And then, this is where we got to pay attention. We're going to box these two. We're going to grab them, the X. We're going to bring them in. They're going to be pretty much, probably could have just grabbed 3 or 4 at a time. And we're going to A that, and we're going to grab the next two. Grab it on the X, bring it in. And the next two, we're going to box it. Grab it on the X. Now we're going to get to where we're going to get a very slight, like we're not going to put it in quite as far. Because we're gonna try to make this curve, and we're gonna make it the same on both sides. So even if the picture isn't the same on exactly on both sides, okay, grab it X, and next two. And I'm actually using the bottom line as a reference, not really the top one. Okay, grab it on the X, bring it in, And we might have to get a little... Deselect it with A. We might have to get a little bit... okay, grab, we'll get a box. I might get a point to where we actually have to like zoom it out and then zoom down here. Okay, grab it in the X. Now even though we can't see the other point is being drug with this one. And then if the curve gets to where it's not starting to be right, go to object mode. That curve gets to where it's not starting to look right. We could actually... Now I kind of can't tell in the shadows here, but whoa. Oh. So I messed up because I was actually grabbing the bottom ones too. So what we're going to need to do is go Control Z. Okay, and for some reason that did all of them. So go to Edit Mode. So what we might have to do now, actually something that's bugging me a little bit here. Let's go Box. Z it. Let's do that again. Grab them saved ones. And see, you can turn it gray while you're referencing some of this. Okay, we can go Scale on the Y. So it just brings it down a little bit. There we go, about like that. I'm going to use this bottom side more than this top side. This top side seems to be a little too wide on the drawing. This drawing is a little bit off. About there. Okay, deselect it. Okay, now I want to grab this one right here. And I need to Z again. Box it twice. And we need to scale it to the Y. About like that. Go to the bottom, click A, and we can just box this one. Scale it to the Y. About there. Grab an X just a little bit. Okay, A, Z. Let's look at it in object mode. So it looks a little bit bigger than the picture, but not much. And it actually looks better this way. Let's look at it from the top again. Okay. And let's deselect it, and let's save it real quick. Okay. Now we're going to go back to object mode again, or edit mode, sorry. And then, okay, now what I did wrong the first time is I picked the dot, I picked that dot, so I also grabbed that bottom one because it's straight underneath it. So if we go to Z, and we actually go box, this time I think we're going to do 4, because actually 4 of those dots are pretty much, okay, now I go Z. Now if I grab this, grab it to the X, I can move those 4 in like this, along that hard edge. Now you notice if I go to object mode, it moved that 4, and it didn't move the bottom 4. Okay, come back in, let's go to edit mode, just deselect. Now the trick here, and what you can also do, is you can actually tilt this a hair if you wanted to, so that you're sure that when you grab this one and this one, push your 7 again, push your Z, and we can grab it to the X, come down, just give that maybe just it's almost flush with the other ones, but just not quite. Then we'll click A, deselect, and you could also instead of going gray every time, we could just angle this, grab our 2, push our 7. Like I said, we might get to the point where we're just using this bottom part of the picture, grab X, to line this up. And it's kind of hard to see an edge there. So I'm just kind of guess. I'm going to guess it's just a little bit off. Box these 2 here, push our 7 again, come down, or you can also use the top, but the reason I want to use the top is because, like I said, this is kind of off. See, if you actually zoom in pretty close, I mean, you're talking about this guy was using pencils, or I don't think this is a computer graph one. I actually think this is a pretty old picture. Okay, grab X, let's bring that in. And you can kind of see the fade line, and you can kind of see where it's solid. So let's just bring that just, because we're pretty small down. So we're gonna try to run that line almost. We're gonna very slowly angle it. And push our Z and push our 1. So you can see this is going to kind of slope down into here, and it's kind of funny to me because it doesn't look that way on the side, but it definitely looks that way on the top, unless it's just the way if you screwed this picture up, because this cowling might just actually supposed to be solid. Probably what I should do is, let's save this again, save as, and let's go toggle window full screen. Let's go there. And we can go internet right quick. Type in E14Y. And let's look at some images. And actually this is where I got these color pictures, some of them. If we actually look at the pictures, on this one, looks like it has a big center hump. Okay. Now see, that looks curved in that picture, but that's the picture I got. But if we look at all of these side pictures, that looks curved. That's actually a model. You can't really tell on that. See, it doesn't really look like it has a curve. If you're looking on, if you're looking at most of these pictures, there's a good front shot, other than it doesn't show the humps on it, unless that was that actually was probably a more modern, that was probably an upgraded model. Okay, there's a model. I actually have a model of this too. I haven't dug it out of the box. I could probably dig it out of the box and look at the parts. But I'm starting to think there's a model that doesn't show the cowling. This one doesn't show the curve, but it's a pretty basic model. Yeah, I'm starting to think there's not really much of a curve there. Now see, this is an art box model, and it looks like there's a little bit of a curve there. There actually was the air, it was separated from the body to let the air go around it, and that doesn't look like it has much of one either. And that's looks like that's more upgraded. So we probably could get away. Oh, nice bottom shot, which we might need later. That's a picture. See, in a lot of these pictures it doesn't look like there's a curve there, so I'm starting to think that maybe the best thing we could do, go back into Blender, window, see, and then 7. I could leave that there, but I might be just as good to just take and Let's box. And let's grab it on the X. Or let's Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. I can just Control Z a lot since I didn't. And I need to resave it. Object mode, okay, and let's save it there. File, save as, and 5. Let's just not trust the picture too much, and we're just going to go with our shield, I think, like that. Now, one thing I don't like, what I said I don't like about this picture, and we can go back, let's see. Let's go to edit mode, and let's push Z. One thing I kind of don't like about this picture is I'm not sure if that bottom cowling really hangs down that low, or if it had like a separate hunt. So again, we can go window, toggle full screen. Let's go back onto our pics. See this picture here actually shows our cowling almost perfectly symmetrical. It looks like the top side is humped a little bit more than the bottom. That one has the exhaust coming out of it more so from the side than underneath. That one shows a model. It kind of comes out at an angle. That one has a really big one coming out. So see, you got a lot of art renditions here. And sometimes you actually almost have to go with the actual picture. Sometimes the pictures will show you stuff and give you away clues that you can't find on diagrams. Here's a nice front shot. Yeah, except for it isn't really. I mean, I'd almost like to see a real nice shot. And models can help. That looks like that's almost straight down. So, anyways, I think we're just going to call ours good for the moment. It seems like it looks alright to me. Okay, so we're going to go Z. And I think one thing I could do here is I could box. Actually, those lines ain't a problem. Okay, it kind of bugs me, but it shouldn't bug me because sometimes they can't be perfectly straight, otherwise you don't get your tapers and stuff. And sometimes if you taper them up, you actually make like cuts into the model. So we're gonna we're gonna call it good. We're gonna go A, and we already saved it like that. So now what I'm gonna want to do on this is make an exhaust tube. And to do that, I think that's the next thing I'm going to do. Actually, I think I'm going to leave that video right there, because we're probably up 20-25 minutes, might even be 30. Sometimes I think we've been doing this 20, and then to my horror it's been like 40. Z, let's go into object mode. And let's deselect it. And actually I'm going to put it, I think, at a little bit of an angle. Save as 5, we're going to save it there, and then we're going to call this one good. I think this cowling's pretty much good, and we just have to figure out, put an exhaust tube on it, I think, and we're going to work on that, and then we're going to put in the what I call the UV shield, so we can draw in our UV engine, and we might even work on doing a UV thing and see if we can color this thing in and stuff and start our UV map. And then we get that done, we can actually work on the propeller hub, the engine gear hub and the propeller, I think. And we get all that front end done, then we'll start working on the airplane. And thanks for watching. We will see you in number 9. This is number 8.